This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace.
Hello, good morning, and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Morning Mysteries, where we are your hosts. I'm Grace.
And I'm Alexis.
And we are back for our final Jabberjaw episode. How are you feeling about this one being the last one? Or should we talk about it at the end?
I don't know. We can talk about it. Well, what do you mean? How do I feel at the end of this arc, that we're at the end of the arc?
Yeah.
Or how do I feel about the episode I'm about to do being
the whole show and our arc. So maybe let's wait till the end.
We'll wait till the end. I mean, I'll preface it by saying, yay.
I'm tired.
Show. Yeah. Can you see the bags under my eyes from trying to decipher this show?
I did distinctly
I
pick a sea creature mug for my coffee this morning.
Oh, nice. Did you make that? Did you happen to? That's actually
one of my friends made this.
The longer I look at it, the more terrified I am of it.
I know. I'm sorry. I knew it was. It's a whale. It's Alexis's arch enemy, but I didn't have a shark one. But this one is to pour one out for Jabberjaw.
Awesome. One out for our homie Jabberjaw
on our laptops.
Nice. Fair. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess
out.
Mine is ocean colored / it's the same one that I made, that I use every week, that I made, aka no, that Grace
it's like you made.
No, I use.
Fight on air. This is what Jabberjaw has brought us to.
Slam my laptop. I win. Can't fight me if I'm not here.
Well, that, we'll talk about how we feel about Jabberjaw at the end.
Yeah.
And until then, Alexis, bring us into our final. Usually we say final for now for most of our shows.
This one might be the
final. Our final episode.
I mean, yeah, it might be. We
might have done all the episodes. Frankly.
Yeah, we went through half of the season. I mean, we could do one more arc, but
yeah, so never say never, folks.
Never say never. Maybe it'll be during like a special, holiday season, or
if this show got approved, anything can get done. So.
Exactly. There 16 episodes of this show were aired, so it is fair that hey, maybe we'll come
possible.
back.
Follow your dreams. Possible.
Yeah, shoot for the stars. You'll
land among the sharks.
The sharks. The Neptunes.
All right.
Shoot for Neptune, you'll land among the sharks. So,
well, it's beautiful. All right. Take it away.
You're poetic. So yes, our last episode of Jabberjaw, and I gotta say, I tried to find it. I didn't try to find a good one, but I ended up finding a good one that wraps it all up.
Okay.
Some of our wild speculation, some of the jokes that we've been making consistently throughout the arc, it all puts a nice bow on them, and we're gonna get one more good laugh in before the end of this arc. So, This episode is called Claim Jumped Jabber. And again, because I was so inspired last time by doing the 5-part story arc or dramatic
we should have figured that out episode 1.
I know, it would have helped a lot. It honestly makes writing these scripts so much easier. That's why I'm like, maybe we can come back and do more Jabberjaw. And in the beginning, fuck no, I was so mad at this show and how hard it was. Watch. But now I'm like, I get it now. I get it, actually. There's art behind this. Yes. So the episode begins with Jabberjaw and the Neptunes aboard a rusty, beat-up, worn-down aqua freighter ship to Aqualaska. Surprisingly, they're not actually going here to play a gig. So this is probably a first, I think, in our arc. Yes. Rather than playing a gig, Jabber has just inherited a deed to a gold mine from an old prospector that Jabber claims to have saved from a giant octopus at some point before this man's recent death. Yes, a giant octopus. So, again, speaking of giant sea creatures, here we go. We're going to keep it going. And Jabber has a whole history of saving people before ever working with the Neptunes, apparently.
Yes. Okay. Wow.
Asking him about this, like, what? When did this happen? How did that go? But before he reenacts how saving this man went, I also would like to say that this inheritance to this gold mine it is coming just in time because literally everyone in the gang, like Shelly and Biff, are talking about how they have literally just spent their last nickel to get on this ship. So,
yep.
So at this point, we're just going to assume that the Neptunes are bankrupt. Okay,
yeah, we already had a feeling, but this is truly the pits. This is the lowest low they've ever been.
And it's the end of our arc. Like they are just they're at the end. They're at the end of their ropes, at their end of their wallets. Their very last nickel went to get them on this rusty ass freighter ship.
That this rich man just died. Convenient.
But a bit of that. Yes. Interesting. So yes, the gang is questioning like, Jabber, so how did it happen, hero? Like, you rich hero? How did you save this guy?
And Jabber second up to him, calling him a hero. Shelly all of a sudden isn't so mean to him.
You will see, like, everyone is very, very nice to him in this episode. And they're like, oh my God, we got to save Jabber. Like, we can't leave Jabber behind. We got it. Oh my God, Jabber.
Like, we love you.
We love you, Jabber. We've always loved you. Shelly's like, I've been your best friend forever. I love you, Jabber. You're my favorite one. So yeah, Jabber, he's like reenacting these heroic events and this fight with the octopus, the giant octopus that led him to saving this old prospector and inheriting the deed. But as we know, when Jabber reenacts things, it gets a little violent often. He doesn't know the size of his own size or like his strength. So he accidentally punches a very large hole into the wall of this aqua freighter. Again, I said it was rusty and old.
Oh no.
And a massive stream of water just starts to rush into the ship.
And that's the end of the Neptunes.
If they were bankrupt before, they're even more bankrupt now.
Gotta pay for this fucking ship now.
They cannot cover these damages. No. So the Neptunes are like scrambling to find a way to seal the hole. Clamhead's like, oh my God, we got to do something. Because he's like, they cannot know that we're here. First of all, they can't know we're on the ship. And two, we can't afford to pay for these damages. So Jabberjaw, being the ooze creature that he is, they use him to like clog the hole up.
Oh my God.
Somehow. And essentially make like a blood oath to never speak of this again so that they don't get sued. But anyway,
probably a lot of blood oaths in this band.
There are, as we've covered, honestly, at least a few of them, I think.
Clamhead gets out the rusty knife, the rusty scalpel.
Everyone, hands out, hands out.
We see their hands are all scarred up.
All over, like infection wounds and stuff. How do you guys play your instruments still? So,
painfully.
Once they all get off of this ship, Biff, he wastes no time. He immediately is like, all right, guys, let's go to the lawyer's office and get this deed. Like the very second that they like get on the dock. And Grace, let me tell you about this lawyer.
Okay.
Because they do go
lawyer to lawyer. Let's hear it. Let's hear your take.
Lawyer to lawyer. Because they go straight to this lawyer.
Yeah.
I wish I could say that I resonated with this lawyer, but I do not. He is unlike any other lawyer I've ever seen depicted on TV, because this lawyer, he is fabulous, Grace. He has on a full, almost like monochromatic pink and rose type fit.
Squeeze me?
Rose-colored base layers, like a long sleeve shirt and pants.
Silk, probably.
Still, most likely, because it is silk quite flowy looking. He's got maybe in like a silk, like dark rose or like maybe maroon neckerchief, like hanging down, very pretty, almost like tied in a bow, but draping. He's got on pink gloves that come up to like his mid-arm. And like a pink suspender vest type thing and the pink cummerbund.
Is this Elton John?
You know, at first I thought it was, but then you look closer and he's also got like thick, dark, slick back hair and like a Dali, like Salvador Dali mustache.
Because it could just be Salvador Dali.
It could just be.
Where's the aardvark?
Is this man even a lawyer? I don't know. I mean, he has the deed, I guess. Maybe Biff doesn't really understand like what a lawyer means. We got to go to the lawyer.
Dude with a deed. I mean, so far this whole backstory of like, yeah, I saved a guy from an octopus and then he gave me his entire gold mine is already pretty sketchy, Jabberjaw. So like, the sketchiness perhaps continues with this so-called lawyer.
This so-called lawyer. Yes, but we're going to pretend he is because I want to believe that lawyers can also, actually be this way.
Exactly. It's just because you're a lawyer in the DC area that you don't see fabulous lawyers. Everyone's wearing black, brown, or navy blue, and that's it.
Pinstripes. That's it. Everything is very pressed. Yeah, proper. This is true. I just need to go to like the fashion district of New York or something.
Go to a law firm in Miami, baby. This is where this guy lives.
They're all about their pastels down there. It's true.
They need the light materials. Beach. It's hot.
It's the off season, so he works in Aqualaska, when it's a little too hot in Miami.
Exactly.
He goes back and forth. He'll be back there in a few months.
But he's not going to buy new outfits for both places. That's too much.
Yeah. He's going to bring the flair with him to Aqualaska.
He's going to bring the Miami heat with him.
Pizzazz there. Exactly. The people there hate him. They can't stand it.
Like Alaskan homesteaders.
Exactly. Well, which actually, thank you for mentioning that, because I did forget to mention that a big part of this whole episode is like, it's like the Old West, like mining prospectors and like old homesteaders, and everything is like a saloon. And then this guy is here dressed. He's like ew.
Someone walks up to him for a job. Dusty. And he says to the person, "Dusty." Ew.
Ew. No, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I love him.
He would find a job working for like the richest miner or something, like prospector. He's like, I don't work for the common folk here. Okay.
This was like his brother or something.
In-laws, not even. It was like his brother-in-law or something.
Exactly. He's doing him a favor, but he's still taking a cut. Yeah. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Great.
Like mines. Ew. I would never. These nails and mines, please. Oh no, that's why he has gloves on, actually.
Yeah,
these
gloves. But I'll take the gold afterwards.
Yes, please. So anyway, I love this lawyer. I did put like a whole paragraph in there. I was like, I've got to tell Grace about this guy. He's amazing. I'm
going to be devastated if he's just in this one single scene.
Oh, he's not. Don't worry.
Okay, thank God.
He's in 2C.
You know what? I'll take it.
Take it. But this scene is long. So yes, they meet with this lawyer in his office. And again, he is wearing this amazing outfit, but like his office is very old Western, like wood everywhere, old timey looking. And Jabber again decides to reenact the events of like fighting this giant octopus to the lawyer. This time it is in a slightly less violent way, but the lawyer is still like trying to like dodge Jabberjaw, and he's like, don't touch me. Like, you're going to hit me. You're going to break something. And after Jabberjaw tells the story, the lawyer's like, wait, an octopus? I thought it was a giant clam that you fought off, like per the will that this lawyer obviously has read.
Oh,
and Jabber's like, I rescue so many people. Like, it's really hard to keep up these days. And look, at this point, this lawyer, he knows what he's doing. Like any good lawyer, he does not give a fuck. He just has to do what the will says. So he's like, look, your name's on it. I don't care if it was a clam or an octopus. I don't fucking know, but you're Jabberjaw. Cool. Awesome. Here's your gold deed. Kids, get the fuck out of my office. Like, here's the keys, get the fuck out. So he basically is like just tired of this great white shark wrecking his office and these random kids. I think Bubbles probably says something stupid to him while he's there or whatever. And he's like, get these kids out of my office. Like, I've got my money. Bye. So after he hands in the deed, though, he warns Jabber, like, look, now that you're a rich shark, you're going to make some enemies, just so you know. Particularly this pesky, annoying, little, super dangerous, evil villain who lives in Aqualaska named Coldfinger.
Wow.
Coldfinger, a throwback to one of our Courage the Cowardly Dog episodes. And I feel like there's another episode of some other show we did. This is clearly a very common trope in kids shows and cartoons. To like have a cold episode with a Coldfinger ice-based villain anyway.
That's funny.
So this lawyer, he explains that Coldfinger has stolen recently every last gold claim in Aqualaska, and Jabber's is the only one left.
Oh.
And Coldfinger, just as his name suggests, that boy indeed has a heart of ice, because earlier in the episode, we see Coldfinger carrying out one of his evil plots to steal all of these gold mine deeds in Aqualaska. And his whole goal behind doing this is to control the entire wealth of Aqualaska. Okay. And so he's got these 2 henchmen and a mobile freezing ray that's pretty much, it looks like a freeze ray. Is a freeze ray gun doesn't exist. It looks like this thing that doesn't exist, you know?
But at the same time, I was like, oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Oh yeah, that thing.
Yeah, like a freeze ray gun. It comes up all the time.
Those things, yeah, we have those, right? But yeah, it can also fly. So it's like a drone too. So you can steer it to
Are they on land?
Fly in front. They are in Aqualaska.
Okay. Multiverse. Great. Go on.
Yeah. So I'm assuming it is underwater. Aqualaska is in a dome. We see, when the Neptunes first get there and the ship gets there, it is a dome that they arrive to.
I was wondering where a gold mine is underwater, but it's fine. But why am I asking 8 episodes?
Now that you say that, when the episode first starts, it tries to do this artsy, cool thing of a fish swimming through the water. Okay, sorry. You just jogged my memory. So the mines are outside of the domes. And whenever people are mining, they're usually wearing their full helmets and stuff underwater so they can still breathe underwater. Because that just reminded me, how are there fish swimming in front of the mine in that one scene? If it was under the dome, it's not. So yes, they are.
I'm sorry,
outside and inside of the dome. No, it's good because that kind of helps set context for later. So anyway, yes, Coldfinger, he's got these 2 henchmen and this mobile freeze ray. And he feels that he is unstoppable because, again, he's had success getting all of these gold mine deeds. He only has jabbers to get.
Okay.
And so you might ask, what does this ragtag team of villains look like?
I was going to ask, and then I was like, she'll get to it.
I will. Again, I was like, I cannot wait to describe this to Grace. So there's 3 of them. We've got Coldfinger, like I said, obviously. Mm-hmm. We've got 3 tall, portly men.
Okay.
And imagine that they are all wearing marmoset onesies. Are you familiar with what a marmoset looks like?
I don't know.
Pardon me. I want you to either Google it or I'm going to share my screen so that you can look up what it looks like so you can see.
With the little ear situation?
With the fur on the sides. So here's how this works. They're all wearing purple, different shades of purple,
and they're purple
snowsuits.
Yeah. Everyone wait, pause and look up a marmoset. I did not know.
Right now. If you're listening to this podcast, yes. If you are listening to this podcast right now, please pause and quickly Google an image of a marmoset. Uh-huh. They're adorable. I believe they're primates, right? They're they're little monkeys. They have little manes of fur sticking out around crowns, halo crowns around just the sides of their heads. And so these villains, they're all wearing purple, various colors of purple snowsuits that are full body snowsuits, connected and everything, onesies. Mm-hmm. They have fur on the cuffs, light fur on the cuffs,
obviously,
and around the hoods.
Okay.
But it's weird because since, like I said, mining is outside of the domes, and I'm glad that you reminded me of that, they have these mask things on. And so the way that the hoods sit over the mask make it look like the little marmoset halo crown fur thing.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. I was like, do they just have their hoods up and on the side of the hood is hair sticking out of the ears? But okay, it's from the mask pushing the furry hood back. I'm going to think it's the other way. I'm going to think it was marmoset designed.
Yeah, we'll say.
I think it just said that marmosets are, hold on, let me pull up what I exactly just Googled. Are from the lowland rainforest of Brazil. So I'm now thinking that this is a Brazilian villain. He or she really missed home. Her little friends they grew up with and designed these out. Because we know our last couple of villains also moonlight as fashion designers.
This is true.
This feels no different.
And he obviously, created enough outfits for his henchmen to also match him, which,
Does he
hey, good
also
for him.
have
He was
the
lonely.
full jumpsuit? Is his more fabulous and like
So
outlandish than the others? Does he have a
no,
tail?
so they're on is it a tail? Is it ombre? What is it? What's going on?
How's he stand out? How do we know
Oh,
he
so
is
his,
Goldfinger?
you're right. Good point. So there are two ways we know that he is Coldfinger. One, his suit is like a pure purple, while the others is more
I
of like
knew
a
it.
light, maybe lavender. I knew it.
They couldn't all match.
Oh, no. But here's the other thing about Coldfinger that is a choice that he made. And you know what? I'm here for it. Live your life, honey boo boo. He has on This dude has on way too much eyeliner. I mean, it is caked on. Like,
Rings.
it's a lot. It's rings. I mean, at this point, I'm not sure if he's going for raccoon mask or just like super smoky eye. I don't know.
You know
Super,
what? I'm
super
looking at
smoky eye. Coal mines. It's the coal near the gold. He just, or the dirt in the gold mines. I don't know.
Here's the thing. I'm looking at
Um,
pictures of marmosets to be like, oh, maybe they have the
they've
rings
got
around
a
their eyes like
smoky
raccoons.
eye.
They don't.
Uh,
I thought they did. I was like, maybe this is why. No, they don't.
he
But
couldn't
what
decide if
waterproof
he,
eyeliner is he using? Because
hey,
it's
power
working.
to him. It is working. But no, again, he's got the mask on. They've got the little, yeah, but
Oh,
hey,
so
yeah, it
can
still
you
works.
see
He's
his
got to be wet.
eyes still through the
You can.
mask?
Yeah, so you can see it's a clear mask. So you can see all of their faces
Oh,
too.
okay.
So again, this is how we know that he's got on too much eyeliner. But there are points later in the episode where he does take off his mask and he's not
You
wearing the full
really see
suit,
it.
and you're like, holy shit. And he also has like a cross between a bowl cut and a Caesar cut, and it's
Keep that
all
hood
gray
up.
hair. Keep that hood up, boy, please. And put that mask back on. But also it's so crazy because I imagine that like they made a choice by putting fur on their snowsuits and still deciding to go into the water. Like, imagine how wet those suits are all the time. Like, the
Uh,
fur just like dripping
like a
always.
little wet dog. They all look like they've lost like 50 pounds, like
Yeah,
dog, like fluffy dogs do when they get wet.
yeah. So, yeah, that's a choice they made.
Fashion over
Anyway,
function.
always, Coldfinger knows what's up. So yes, that is the end of part one of this episode, which by the way, I
What
didn't
was that
even
titled?
say. It
What
was
was part
titled
one?
as an ode to an old episode of this podcast, The Will That Wouldn't.
The will that literally would not.
Would not. This will not work. So, and we'll find out
Well,
more on that soon.
great.
Part two. And this title is very, very specially dedicated to you, Grace. And I was chuckling like crazy, like the
Okay,
nerd I am when I thought of it.
let's hear it.
Part two. I am the walrus.
As this part enters, you just hear in the background,
Goo goo
but it's really just Coldfinger's henchman. That's what keeps him around.
Look at them fly. Oh man. So the gang, we're back to the Neptunes now.
Yeah.
They quickly leave the lawyer's office after being warned about Goldfinger.
Okay.
They quickly leave the office, check into their hotel, and avoid any confrontation with this evil villain who is clearly out to get them.
Great.
But this lawyer, he must also be the only lawyer in town because one of Coldfinger's henchmen is already hiding outside of his office nearby and radios to Coldfinger when he sees Jabber. That's their calling card. With the deed. So once they arrive to the hotel, the Neptunes, and again, it's like an old country looking hotel. They get to the concierge, or before they actually walk in, they get there. And Jabber, he decides to be a little bit smarter than he's been in the past because he's like, all right, we've got all these episodes behind us now. You guys have seen everywhere I go. I'm a shark living in a shark phobic world. They kick me out of places. They're afraid to see me. So he's like, I've got an idea. I'm not going to get kicked out of this hotel. I'm going to disguise myself. So he
Great.
grabs some icicles off of the porch of this hotel, sticks them up his
I was like, where's the
and
walrus coming?
pretends to be a walrus.
Is he like moving on his belly, or is he just like normal Jabberjaw just with like
So yeah, I'm pretty
big
sure.
teeth?
Yeah, pretty sure just normal Jabberjaw. So he just walks in on his fin as he already abnormally tends to do. And he goes in there. And as they're checking in, the concierge is like, oh, yikes, this is awkward. We actually don't accept walruses here. But too bad you're not a shark because we do accept sharks. And so then he kicks Jabber out of the hotel momentarily. And Jabber's like, go fucking figure. Like the one hotel that hates walruses, I dress up as a walrus and get kicked out of. So yeah, that's not really like at all important to the plot
No,
of
that
this
was important
episode,
for me to hear.
but it was. And I had already typed it in, and then I was trying to think of a name for this part of the script. And I was like, oh, I am the walrus. Why the fuck not? So then I had to keep it in.
What if during that song, instead of the cuckoo cuckoo, they had put in actual walrus noises?
What did they even make? What noise? I don't even know
think
what
what
that
you
was.
just did was like elephant s, which is like groaning, like I don't fucking know, but it's not cuckoo cuckoo.
It's not cuckoo at all. Oh,
I mean,
man, they
actually,
don't
we just
fly
admitted
either.
we
Isn't
don't
there
know what they sound like, so maybe it is. Maybe
yeah,
I'm wrong.
maybe they do make that noise. I'm trying to think. And also, isn't there a line in that song about like watching them fly or something? Like they can fly.
That song is just one big acid trip.
It
Don't
is. It
don't
is
worry
true.
about it. Just like this
As
show.
is every episode of Jabberjaw. Yeah.
Exactly. They go hand in hand.
They do. It's like, how have we not made a Beatles reference yet in this?
This was their one.
We did. We got it. We fit it in. So, anyways, they let Jabber back into this hotel after they realize that he is indeed not the walrus after all. And the gang, they get settled into their rooms. And Biff, Clamhead, and Jabber are all sharing one room. And they're like, all right, we're going to get freshened up before dinner. And they're in there looking for the bathroom. But as it turns out, this is like an actual old Western inn or hotel where the individual rooms don't have their own bathrooms. And there's only shared bathrooms like down at the end of the hallways. So Jabber, he's like, all right, well, I'm going to go and take a shower. And Clamhead comes with him. I'm going to guess there's more than one shower in each of these. Maybe not, honestly. Who knows? Good for them.
Who fuck knows?
Who knows? At this point, they're used to saving water because they can't afford it anyways. They're like, yeah, we all always shower together.
They also lied about how many people were staying in this hotel room, so they have to like all move as one unit.
You're like, yeah, there's only 2 people in this hotel room. Or they're like, we don't have a pet, aka Jabber.
Jabber, exactly.
No. So yes, Clam and Jabber, they're walking down the hallway to go to the bathroom and take a shower and get freshened up before dinner. But they end up running in to one of Coldfinger's mobile freeze rays that's like flying down the hallway directly towards them and starts chasing them throughout this hotel. And again, this is obviously because Coldfinger and his henchmen obviously have followed the Neptunes to their hotel and have known this whole time exactly where they are. They're like 5 steps ahead of them here. So Jabber and Clamhead, they're like running through the hotel, making this commotion, probably fucking a bunch of shit up as they tend to do.
Absolutely.
And while they're running away and making all this noise, Shelly hears it from her hotel room. And so she peeks her head out of the room into the hallway to see what's going on. And the freeze ray stops right in front of her, tries to freeze her, but misses. And so she's like, oh shit. And she joins in Jabber and Clamhead's run throughout the hotel. Okay. And eventually this trio is able to outrun the freeze ray, and they like trick it into crashing into a hotel room door and then smashes into pieces. And so Coldfinger, sorry, that's the end of part 2. This is now part 3.
Yes. Entitled
A Date with Destiny. So
honestly, if each title wasn't followed by an episode of Jabberjaw, I would be like, this is a film.
Kind of good.
Like, I would watch this. It's incredible.
Then you remember, like, oh my god, that's right, it's about Jabberjaw. Here we go again. Yes. This is my way of trying to make Jabberjaw into more of a serious show than it actually is.
You know what? It's working.
If you view it through this lens, it's like, oh, this actually, is this an episode of James Bond or of James Bond movie or an episode of Jabberjaw? Which one?
Yeah.
Am I
A Day with Destiny
to?
could be a James Bond film title.
I think it actually might be. Something with Destiny is, yeah. That may be where I got that from. Actually, like,
either way,
I feel like I'm not that clever. Anyways, so yes, Coldfinger, he's watching this whole chase inside the hotel go down on some like video monitoring screen. And he's watching it like, oh my God, Jabberjaw is a lot smarter and more cunning than I thought he was. Like, this dude may be a little bit tougher to get than I thought. It may be harder to steal this deed from this secret stealthy agent Jabber. So he decides that rather than using these measly weapons, these little toys to trick Jabberjaw, he instead is going to use the power of seduction.
No! No! I was so afraid you were going to say that.
And he does this by enlisting the help of his greatest asset, Francine Le Fen.
His greatest ass.
Exactly. You know why I chose that word. So who is Francine Le Fen, you may ask? She's a cabaret shark.
I'm so mad.
She's got red curly hair. Think, I guess, as much as it pains me to say it, think Ice Spice, but a shark. She's got on, and tall, she's got on a form-fitting, there's a lot of purple in this show. I'm just not realizing.
But she is a shark,
purple and
right?
Pink. She is a shark, yes.
Okay,
she's a cabaret shark. Not, actually, wait a minute. No, cabaret shark is not an actual type of shark, is it? No, that would be ridiculous. Okay, good. I was like, why does that seem to roll off the tongue really well?
Because Jabberjaw has gotten into your head. You've gotten too much. You're in the writer's room as you're writing the script. You're there.
I am method podcasting right now. This is
1976. You're in the room.
And like they were in 1976, unable to afford a trip to the library, I too am unable to afford a trip to Wikipedia right now to Google.
You've just smoked 9 cigarettes in a row because it's 1976 and everyone's smoking constantly.
Exactly. Were there lines of Coke somewhere around me?
Yes.
Perhaps. Yes.
Someone brought an encyclopedia and then they ripped out the pages to help roll in order to snort the Coke.
Did someone impolitely whistle at the assistant who brought in all the cell paper as she left the room? Absolutely.
But that person didn't know how to whistle, and so instead they said cuckoo cuckoo and thought it was a whistle. And then that's when someone said, a walrus, put a walrus in.
We need to put a walrus in this episode. You're right.
Somewhere. Right. Make it work. I don't care how.
At least one scene, damn it. One scene. That's our only demand. Kellogg demands it or they won't run those ads.
Wow. Also, how funny would it be if a cabaret shark was an actual shark and I just so confidently was like, no, Alexis.
I don't think shark. It is, though. I mean, you should not trust anything I say here. You're absolutely correct. Like, we can look it up, but I don't know. It's just funny because when I was in Florida a couple of weeks back, we saw nurse sharks somewhere, and my friend asked me, like, what are these sharks called again? I was like, pretty sure they're nurse sharks. And I said it like immediately with no hesitation. And I was like, ooh, actually, hold on. We should look that up because that also sounds stupid. And then we asked someone and he said that, but it is. And it was. So it was like, oh, never mind. So I just have this newfound confidence of shark knowledge. And I was like, cabaret shark, right? Which, like, no.
It does sound, the more you say it, the more I'm doubting my reality.
Yeah, maybe we'll look it up after this. Anyways, we won't. We won't. So,
we'll never learn.
So, we're just going to pretend it is. You know, it is, in fact, there is at least one cabaret shark that exists, and it's Francine Le Fen. So, She's got like curly red hair. She's got this form-fitting purple dress on with a big bow on the front of it, and this like a nice feather plume headpiece on top. And of course, lots of makeup so that we know that she is a girl shark. And by the way, she is, of course,
Frank. So you know, she's working that stage.
Oh, part of me thought about it, but it was like, okay.
Sorry, I brought it. It's okay.
No, you brought it back. Hey, the joke was going to make its way into this podcast one way or another. So yes, of course, by the way, Francine Lafin is French, and she talks and sings just like Edith Piaf.
She sings?
Like a very high voice. Oh, she sings. She sings like this all the time. Right? No.
Incredible. She came straight from the Moulin Rouge to Alaska Aqua.
I like to think that if Jabberjaw got his head injury while watching like the Three Stooges and now thinks that he's curly, Francine was like hit and injured when she was listening to like La Vie en Rose or something like that. Like convinced that she's Edith Piaf, that she can only speak like this all the time. It's like so unnecessary too. Like you cannot understand half the stuff she's saying.
It's the most necessary thing this show's ever done.
You're right. That's right. When you watch it, you'll agree. It's at some points I'm like, okay, this is a little overdone. I was literally watching and listening like, the fuck did she just say?
Captions on, is she speaking French right now?
I would probably understand it more if she was speaking French. So anyway, she takes the stage at this old like saloon where the Neptunes, these teenagers, are just casually also having dinner. And boy, oh boy, does this woman, this shark, cabaret shark, do a number on Jabber's mind and heart, because he sees her and he is immediately flustered. He's shaking, he's babbling, and she just very easily seduces him, like walks up to him, asks him. It's like, this poor man has clearly never been flirted with, because she's like, ooh, what?
Bonjour.
Okay, so she
that's it.
Tout t'appelles? Like, what's your name? Hello, what's your name? And he's like, oh my God, are you asking me on a date?
Are we engaged?
Are we married? Did you just tell me that you love me?
She's so exotic.
But like, okay, she does do a list. She works some moves on him, obviously dancing in front of him, but like, dude, you're at a cabaret show. What do you expect? Like, that's her job. Yeah. It's easy to seduce Jabber, apparently. She asks his name, where he's from, what he's doing there. And I think he does babble that he's like, well, I'm just like the richest new prospector in Alaska. And so she's like, okay, I know his name and I know he's rich. Want to come back to my dressing room after this? So she invites him.
She's my favorite character so far. This episode's full of them.
Good for her. Good for her.
Very good for her.
She's going to steal money from Jabber and get paid by Coldfinger. Good for you, girl. Let's see how this works out. She's living her best life. She is. So Biff, he sees how like distracted, we'll say, Jabber is now that Francine is like talking to him, and now that he's been invited back to her dressing room after the show. And so Biff tells Clam to go with Jabber to Francine's room in case Coldfinger shows back up later. So Jabber, after the show, he and Clam, they go to Francine's room, and it's kind of adorable. Jabberjaw's got flowers and chocolates and everything. And he's all like breathing all heavy, and Clam's like, come on, man, you got this. Like, you're
wingman. Wingman Clam head.
Exactly. He is. He's the best wingman. And Jabber's like all nervous, like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Like, oh my God, it's happening.
Honestly adorable.
And so Francine like whips the door open and like pulls Jabber in, and like Clam just like stands in the hallway, like, don't worry, like I'll stand out here and keep guard. Which also like a little creepy though too. Like, dude, like give him some space. But whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. But it doesn't matter, because as soon as Jabber is pulled into Francine's room and the door shuts. Clamhead is actually kidnapped by a mysterious figure behind the door across the hallway from the dressing room. So we see like the door behind Clamhead swing open and someone just pulls him in, and then Clamhead's like screaming and stuff, and he gets kidnapped. But we'll get back to him in a moment, because let's get back to this date with Destiny. Jabber and Francine, they decide to leave the saloon and go on this nice moonlight ride throughout Aqualaska. Ooh. And as they're driving around, they're getting to know each other, and Jabber eventually parks the aqua car on top of this scenic overlook with this perfect view of the Aqualaska wilderness. But you know who has an even better view of this wilderness? Coldfinger, because this dude is literally watching all of this go down from the cliff right above these two, just like looking down on them. Like, yes, good. She's carrying out my plan. Perfect, Francine. Okay. And so Francine does begin to carry out the bulk of the plan. She continues to sweet talk Jabber, drawing him close enough to like try to reach into his little bag. He of course has his satchel with him that has his deed in it. It's like, when you're in Vegas, got to bring your satchel with you. Yeah, like, dude, leave that at the hotel. Why would you
leave that with the lawyer? Yeah,
also that, like, well, you don't need it. I don't know. There's 1,000 better places that it could be than in this car on this date.
Yes, with a
stranger. I was gonna describe her as something else, but yeah, with this cabaret dancer, we'll say. Yes. So, yeah, she is like sweet talking him. Jabber's like, oh, let me move my seat in closer. And she keeps sweet talking him. And then she's able to grab the gold mine deed from his bag at one point when he's distracted. And she's like flirting with him. And it really, the plan, at some points, it seems like it's not going to work, because Jabber, this dude, as we said before, he clearly has never been flirted with before. This guy's got no riz. Every time Francine gets closer to him, he starts babbling and shaking and like squirming around and like,
he's so nervous.
He's so nervous. And he starts just doing like very dumb things. Like, apparently this car has a popcorn machine in it. So at one point,
all right,
he's like,
"Am I right?"
There's 1,001 things that I want to say about Pimp My Ride. Holy shit. That would be a whole other tangent in and of itself. Exhibit, if you're listening right now, don't sue us for bringing it up.
Allegedly, Pimp My Ride. That save us from things.
This is nothing like Pimp My Ride, because the
car works
in this car, it does not work. No, Pimp My Ride always work. Grace, we don't want to get sued on this podcast. No, yeah, it very much does not work. It just starts shooting popcorn everywhere in this car, in Francine's face, to the point where it like blows her out of the car damn near.
Oh no.
At one point she's like, how about some music? He's like, yeah, okay, music, that sounds good. And he's like trying to find the button for the radio, but accidentally, because I always freaking make this mistake too when I'm on a romantic date with someone in the car, instead of turning on the radio, I accidentally hit the ejector button, and so the seat just ejects her out of the car. You're probably waiting.
I had a nickel.
You're so freaking
I'd like $40. That'd been a lot.
I'd be able to buy dinner tonight. Oh man. It's not a lot, but it's enough. I mean, in terms of nickels, that's a lot. So yeah. So Jabber, he's just struggling. He's not having a good time. And there are points where I'm like, damn, Francine, like, you're gonna have to really like do something big here to get this. But no, it's Jabber. He's an idiot at the end of the day, and does let her get close enough to grab the deed from his bag. Unfortunately, right after he presses the button ejecting her from the car. So he not only gives her the deed, but then gives her an escape route as well.
Yeah, it kind of worked out for her.
It did very well. So at this exact moment that Francine is ejected from the car with the deed, Coldfinger, obviously watching from above, sees this, and he swoops down from that cliff above them, shoots his freezing ray at Jabber, grabs the deed from Francine. And once Jabber, go ahead, yeah.
I assume in law school you had to take some real estate law. Mm-hmm. Jabberjaw's name is still on the deed.
Yep.
I'm always confused in shows when they're just like, I'll just steal the legally binding piece of paper and it's mine. And I'm like, but the name's still on it, right? Or is it finders keepers, baby?
Losers weepers, man. That was part of the reason why I wanted to do this episode. No lie, because I did pretty well in property. Did not do great in wills and estates, but I did well in property law. And there was a point where I was like, all right, we're gonna go into this. We're gonna talk about all the legalese of this, but it would be boring as fuck. And I also just did not have time to do that. But yes, I did
insert me being like, I'm interested.
Damn it, Grace. We'll talk later. Sorry, viewers and listeners, you don't get to learn. I'll tell Grace about it later. No, I mean, the long and the short of it is, yes, you are absolutely correct. Like, okay, so I'm not an expert on this, but to my knowledge, the only sort of title document, so like a document that says someone owns something, the only sort of title document that exists that doesn't have to have someone's name on it to still like have the ownership of the person who has it or whatever is a bearer bond. Like, because the bearer bond, the name of it comes from, it's a financial instrument that is owned by literally the person who is bearing the bond. So it's a piece of paper essentially that says like the person who bears this bond is the owner of the value of this piece of paper. So whatever transaction is behind that piece of paper, like you own it. That's why hilariously, actually in James Bond movies, very often, I think that, who was it? I don't think it was Goldfinger, hilariously. I think it was Hans Blomfield, one of the biggest James Bond villains. He's known for like trying to just steal bearer bonds from a casino. That's smart. Because you don't have to like do any title check or anything. He's got good lawyers. Villains usually do.
What about squatters' rights?
Squatters' rights.
Is Goldfinger just going to go do that?
Limitations. Yeah. I mean,
just sit in the mine. It's mine now.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, actually, oh God. See, now I'm getting into all these legal theories. That actually would be a good idea for Goldfinger. No, that would actually be a really good idea for Goldfinger because Jabberjaw is not, and the Neptunes are not rich enough to afford legal action to take against Goldfinger. Yeah. So if there's enough time to be a squatter, the person who owns the property has to know that you're squatting and that you're living there. You have to be like actively possessing the property and like openly possessing the property. So Jabberjaw, they would know that they're there, but if they don't take any legal action to get them out of the mine by a certain statute, by a certain time period, then like, yeah, they can keep squatting. So if I were Goldfinger, I'd be like, hey, you guys can't afford a lawyer to get me out of here, so I'm just going to keep squatting. Look at me in your mind.
You know, as we famously have stated before on this podcast, I did get into law school and just not go. So yeah, be impressed with me.
You know, fair. That's a lot further than other people get. Yeah. People on Twitter and Instagram think they're better lawyers than you, and they've never even read a book. So.
They never even applied. They never took
the LSAT. The hell.
They didn't even study for it.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's enough about legal nerd stuff. But yeah, that is also the basis of why I wanted to do this episode, because in the real world, this shit would never work. And because it then made me realize that in this futuristic timeline of Jabberjaw, there must have been a very crazy breakdown of society to literally wipe all like well-known processes and procedures of law clear. Honestly, and even like the ones that we inherited from like 500 years ago in the United Kingdom that like, yeah, everyone's known as long as humans have been doing shit. Like, yeah, no, we're starting fresh. Yes. There's apocalypse was up there. So now it's
like there's a nuclear war up top.
Basically.
Wiped them all out.
So
cool.
Anyways, wrapping up part 3 here. Goldfinger, after he freezes Jabber, he kindly does it in a way that like keeps his face not frozen, so he's still able to like talk to Francine. And he's like, Francine, what the hell's going on? And she's like, oh, well, actually, I was working with Goldfinger the whole time. Sorry, like, bye. Like, I'm getting my money. And at this point, Jabber's like, gosh, I lost my girlfriend, my gold deed, and a lot of respect. To which I again say, honey boo boo, you only ever had one of those in the first place. It was hilarious that you said that before. Like, are we married now? I'm like, no, but he does think that she's his girlfriend because they rode in a car together for 15 minutes.
One time.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
What a time.
what a time, man. So after all of this, Coldfinger is actually kind enough to also drop like the frozen Jabberjaw back off at the hotel.
You know what? He just wants real estate. He doesn't want to
He
murder
does.
someone.
Yeah, he don't want to kill anyone. Exactly. It's like murder. That's not me. Are you kidding me? No,
And
I
he's
just need
like,
your deed.
I'll need you to be alive to sign this deed over to me. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like I'll
yeah,
convince you. I'll buy you off with the gold that I steal from your deed or from your
exactly.
mine. Yeah. So after Jabber gets back to the hotel, he's debriefing the gang while thawing out in like a nice warm bath. And Shelly at this point, she's pissed. She's like, "Oh,
You
how
lost the
dare
fucking
they?"
money.
She's
I don't
not a
like you
cold finger.
anymore.
No, remember, they're still being nice to Jabber because they're like, it is still in his name. Okay, so it's it sucks that he lost it. He is an
That's
idiot for
very
that, but
funny.
it's still in his name. So we'll be mean to Coldfinger and nice to Jabber still.
Amazing.
And so Shelly comes up with a plan to get this deed back and take down Coldfinger from once and for all. And so that's the end of part 3. But I would also just like to say, remember how Clamhead got kidnapped?
No one's noticed.
No, he's back.
That motherfucker murdered some people. Clamhead's mob background.
Just
The second he got kidnapped, they pulled the bag off his head, like a single light swinging over, and Clamhead was just like, "You just made the biggest mistake of your fucking life."
Somehow the light then goes back off and you just hear like screams and yelling and like slashing.
Bodies
Gunshots.
falling.
Yeah. Light comes back on and he's just standing there covered in blood.
He's just like wiping off
hands
his
are
rusty
free.
scalpel. That's all he had to use.
Like mangled bodies everywhere. Blood on the walls. He actually is not covered in blood at all. Actually, he's very clean. Everything else is a mess. Yeah. He just like nothing happened. He just walks back out and joins the gang.
Almost as if his scalpel is a switchblade. He just flicks it back in, puts it in his pocket, and you see like other like big mob people running in to do the body cleanup as he just slowly walks out.
And, like searching around for who it was. They're like, it could have been that guy. He's way too scrawny and calm to have killed like 20 men in there. He's clean. Yeah. And there's like no blood on him. So they're like, you, sir, did you see anything in there? No. I don't, what are you talking about? Come back up. Come back up. Also, have you ever
doesn't mention it to the
Blinders?
No, I haven't.
Oh man. Well, I feel like maybe I've mentioned it on this show, on this podcast before, but they wear hats that have like razor blades sewn into them. This is why Clamhead's always wearing his hat. That's where he keeps his extra razor blade. Yeah.
He gets back to the Neptunes and doesn't fucking say anything. That's why no one was like, where were you? Are you okay? He was just like, yeah, I've been here the whole time.
Like, no, yeah, Jabber and Francine left, so I just took a little walk around the hotel, and I'm back now. We're good.
Made some friends along the way.
Yeah. There were some cool guys that, it's fine. Yeah. Is anyone else hungry? Hungry all of a sudden. But yeah, so at this point in the episode, I was watching, and as Jabber was debriefing the gang, I heard Clam's voice, and I was like, wait a minute. And I had to like rewind back to the point when he was kidnapped.
Did I skip a scene?
I was like, did I miss something? This show does make me feel like I just did acid. So it's very possible that I missed that.
We're never going to bring it up again. It's actually because it wasn't Coldfinger's people who kidnapped him. It was like a rival mafia family.
Yeah.
It was a totally other show and life that Clamhead leads. And so they didn't include it. They're like, no, that wasn't Coldfinger's people in any way, shape, or form. Yes. It was just a different mob hit trying to go down. Don't worry about it.
Sorry about any confusion there. Don't worry about it. Clam's fine though. Like clearly he was fine. Yeah, don't worry. And it's funny that you say that too, because like, yeah, it didn't even look like something Coldfinger would have done. Like they used this weird contraption to like kidnap him. It was like this Clam had just definitely got like taken out by another mob. Like
until they realized who they were messing with.
I need to see his side of the story. This is too entertaining of a concept. So, anyways, that's part 3. Part 4.
Part 3.5 was the footage that the security cameras actually captured, but as soon as Clem had walked out, he went to the security camera room and kicked down the door, just got the scalpel out, and they deleted the footage really quick.
They take the tape out and break it in front of him. It's like one of the security cameras, all you see is like Clamhead walking through a hallway. He stops at the end of the hallway, turns around, looks up at the camera, walks up to it, and like yanks it down. And the camera just cuts off.
His face gets like really close to it, like the new metal head twist.
Yeah, exactly.
And then just like cuts to static. And then it cuts to them back in the hotel room.
Yes. Listen, if Hanna-Barbera comes across this, or Warner Brothers, if they come across this podcast and they don't hire us to write a much better Jabberjaw in the future, you guys are missing out. Saturday morning mysteries at gmail.com for all inquiries.
But we will not accept, we actually have an autoresponder to lawyers. It goes right to spam. Yeah. So yes, don't even bother. We won't see it.
Don't even try. Good luck trying to sue us.
Don't even bother.
So, part 4, the Neptune strike back. I kind of think it's something that sounded more like Empire, but
yeah.
But I was too lazy. I was not lazy enough to do a 5-part dramatic structure script, but I was too lazy to think of a better pun for Empire.
You had thought of 3 great titles. I mean, I immediately knew Empire as soon as you said Strikes Back. So
yeah, I figured. Yeah, I was like, she'll get it. That's close enough. Yeah. And Neptune, it's like a planet. So, all right. The Neptunes disguise themselves. This is Shelley's plan, by the way, that she came up with. Okay. They disguise themselves as rough and tough old-time prospector miners. Okay. And they decide to, if you can't beat them, join them. Let's go ask Coldfinger for jobs at all of these mines. That
infiltrate, baby.
Yes, exactly. We're going to take them down from the inside. So they go, they're all dressed up with like their fake beards and their hats and like dusty clothes on and stuff. And they're telling Coldfinger that they're rough and tumble and that he needs the roughest, toughest people to help him dig through these mines. And Coldfinger falls for it, even as Bubbles almost gives up the shtick. Like, yeah, like we're in a band. Like, we love being in a band. Fucking Bubbles. I
push her down the mine.
One of her, exactly, get rid of her. But he falls for it, and he gives them jobs immediately, and then assigns them to their quarters. And so that night, the gang, they wait until everyone at the mine goes to sleep and everyone is off guard to execute Shelley's plan, the end of her plan. And so what they're going to do is they're going to split up. Biff and Bubbles are going to go secure some getaway aqua cars, while Shelley, Clam, and Jabber sneak into Coldfinger's room, break into his safe, and steal back the deed.
Okay.
I don't know how they found out that it was back there. Maybe Coldfinger gave them like a tour of the facilities and everything. It's like, so this is my room.
Yeah, HR took them through.
Exactly.
Their onboarding.
Because, I mean, they know exactly where to go. They know exactly how to sneak into the safe. Easy. It's almost like this plan looks like it's too easy to fail. But
Too big
no,
to
it's
fail.
not too big to fail. Exactly. No, it's just too big because it immediately fails. As soon as they open up the safe, naturally, an alarm goes off, and this wakes up Coldfinger. And, just before Jabber is able to actually grab the deed and run out of the room. But before they run out of the room, I just also have to describe Coldfinger's room because, again,
this is like his office.
He's quite a character. No, it's his bedroom. This is his bedroom. It's like
that
where he's
his
sleeping.
safe's in his bedroom.
It's in his bedroom. Exactly. This doesn't make sense. Why is that where you would put this? Like, and then why do the Neptunes know that it's in
Go
there?
into your
Why
bedroom.
have they been in his bedroom? Exactly.
I thought it was just his office separately, but
no.
Okay.
His bedroom.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
So, his bed, you may ask, is shaped just literally like a giant clam that he sleeps in. So he is like the pearl in.
It's got a lot of. He's eclectic.
He is, and he has a lot of very large self-portraits of himself, still with a lot of eyeliner on, and that's
his signature.
Cut. That's his signature, yeah. So he seems like he's doing fine, and like he is not at all self-obsessed.
You know what? This is how I know he has a lot of money. This is how I know he's become a billionaire from all these gold mines.
That's the fuck around money when like you can find a giant pearl and sleep in it. Yeah. And when you can just have people paint yourself and like take,
constantly.
The gold frames. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Good for him. Good for you, Goldfinger.
Yeah.
So the gang, they get the fuck out of his room. They run and they meet up with Biff and Bubbles, who have lived up to their end of the deal and found somehow some getaway aqua cars. Don't know who they stole them from, but hey, doesn't matter.
Biff's got it.
And so we got it. He's on it. Of course, Biff is in charge of getting the cars. And so Coldfinger and his cronies, though, they chase the gang out of the mine or out of Coldfinger's room. And then they also hop into aqua cars and they chase them into the Aqua-Laskan wilderness. And so the Neptunes decide to hide and seek refuge among a remote Aquamo community. Eskimo. Also very heavy. I don't know if you watch True Detective, but like it was getting very heavy and strong True Detective season 4 vibes.
I'd say the latest season.
It's in Alaska, and there's like, why are you guys committing crimes and hiding among Eskimos? Anyway, also, are Eskimo? Never mind. That's, you know what? We're not going to comment on cultural mishaps of this show. It was the 70s. We're going to keep it moving.
Yep. As soon as you said that, I was like, oh no, do they actually show?
They don't, thankfully.
This local community.
They don't. They just show a bunch of like igloos and like things set up and the kids like hiding in them. So you can assume that it's inhabited and the kids are just colonizing their way right in and like hiding in there with this massive great white shark.
Great.
And again, that's right. So he is a massive great white shark. So it does not take long for Coldfinger and his henchmen to recognize the very non-indigenous features of the Neptunes and the great white shark among all of these the presumed indigenous people around them. So the chase almost instantly resumes shortly after they like wreck this little community. And that's the end of part 4. So part 5.
Part 4, also called Colonization.
Colonization Nation. So, part 5. And I think this is my second favorite title after I Am the Walrus. Actually, though, yeah, I don't know, though. They've all been pretty great. True. Part 5, the end. This mine ain't big enough for the 8 of us. I did actually have to count on my fingers, like how many 8. Okay, 8.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that, and then I started doing that math in my head, and then I said, I don't know how many people are here right now.
So at this point, the Neptunes, they're tired of being chased around by Coldfinger and his henchmen. So Shelley says that she has a better idea. Attempted murder.
I was gonna say, slaughter them.
Kill them. AKA, she's like, let's just trap Coldfinger and his goons inside of Jabber's mine. Which in my mind, I'm like, okay, so yeah, attempted murder. Like you guys are going to suffocate them to death. Cool.
Also,
go. Hey, do
squatters'
you,
rights.
Yeah. You're only making their claim easier.
Or you let them
in there. And you would not let them leave.
So they need to call this fabulous lawyer from the beginning and get this sorted.
Yeah. Oh, is that a conflict of interest? There might be, but he's the only lawyer in town, so he'll file a waiver. Yeah. So the gang, they pull up to the mine in their aqua car. They jump out and they continue the chase on foot. And Coldfinger and his henchmen, just like the gang, they also jump out of their aqua car and continue to run after the kids into the mine. And so after a very long and drawn out and in my script, I put potentially dangerous. This chase was horrible. Like this mine could have collapsed at any minute. This was disastrous. The Neptunes fuck everything up everywhere they go. A mine is the last place I would want to be trapped in with them, especially with this massive great white shark who does not have control of his extremities.
Yes. We are underground. Great.
This is not going to end well. So after all of this, though, the gang, they are able to eventually corner Coldfinger and his henchmen by standing in front of an ice shelf somewhere deep within the mine. And Coldfinger, he thinks he's got them, so he shoots his freezing ray at them, but soon realizes that what he sees is actually the kid's reflection in the ice. And so the freeze ray bounces off of the ice and freezes Coldfinger and his henchmen in their tracks. And the kids all celebrate like, yay, we outsmarted him. So back in the town, we actually see, I think maybe as the first in this show, we actually see the sheriff arresting with handcuffs on the village and putting on the villains. And putting these villains back into a paddy wagon or something like that to take them off to prison. So I'm like, wow, law enforcement does actually do something in this show, except they don't because obviously the sheriff is thanking the Neptunes for doing their job for them.
Oh, yeah.
So, he's like, thanks for finding this guy, man. We've been searching for Coldfinger forever, man. Who are you guys again?
Yeah, wait, how'd you get here?
Yeah, how'd you get here? So, yes, the gold deeds, the sheriff tells the kids that the gold deeds are all going to be returned to their rightful owners. Coldfinger is never going to make his way out of, prison. He'll be behind bars forever. And they all celebrate. But soon after, the sheriff gives Jabber's deed back to him. Our favorite, the fabulous lawyer, he runs
He's back. I've been waiting for his return.
I told you 2 scenes.
You said 2 scenes.
One of the first scenes and the last scene. Here's his other big show. And boy, it actually is probably the most important part of this episode because the lawyer, he runs up in his fabulous pink outfit and he informs the Neptunes that there was actually a computer error and he misread the will, AKA there was no computer error. He just fucked up.
Yeah, I'm like, it's 1976. No. What laptop are you using, sir?
Exactly. As it turns out, the mine does not belong to a man named Jabberjaw or a shark named Jabberjaw. Mm-hmm. It instead belongs to a man named Jabberclaw. This is the man who actually saved the mining prospector from the giant octopus. And this Jabberclaw, we see him because he is standing right there with the lawyer. He kind of pops out from behind the lawyer and introduces himself. And boy, oh boy, this does not look like someone who could take down a giant octopus, Grace. This dude, he's got a high voice and talks like this, and he's short. God. And he's old and he's very plump and soft spoken. He's got these thick round glasses and he's balding.
So he's just like a nerd.
He's a little dopey nerd. Exactly. And Jabber's like, how could a little guy like you take down a giant octopus? And the man responds like, well, it was nothing really. I just tied his tentacles into knots with my giant tentacle knotter. because he like apparently is an engineer or something, and like
this guy sounds like a villain.
Machine. Yeah, he might be actually. Like, watch out! Do not give the man this mind deed, because he will just use the riches for evil.
Yes, absolutely.
This is his origin story, actually. So he then, Jabberclaw then pulls out this giant tentacle nodder machine that he has, and he shows it to Jabber, who's still in disbelief that this little man could have taken down such a massive sea creature. And so while Jabberjaw's looking at this machine, he accidentally like turns it on, and it does like twist him up and actually fucks Jabber up quite a bit. And hilariously, like essentially confirms Jabberclaw's story and his claim to the gold mine. So the rest of the gang's looking at this like, you fucking kidding me?
We were nice to you for 72 hours for fucking nothing.
For nothing. And Biff is like, well, guess we're gonna have to play a gang now to afford our way out of Aqua Alaska, guys.
Like, get to that local saloon. What cabaret songs do you know?
Literally exactly what they do, because in the very last scene, we see them playing a gig at that exact saloon, getting good feedback from the crowd, and also from one very special audience member, the one, the only Francine Le Fin, who then chases down Jabber and essentially admits that she's going to stalk him until he agrees to marry her now that Coldfinger is out of the picture.
She was like, I still need that money. And then Shelly's like, he doesn't have it. And she turns right back around.
And she's like, never mind, I'm getting off this plane. My bad. Please let me off the plane now.
Please help. Also, well, one, great job. That was incredible.
Thank you.
It's one thing that Jabberjaw is named Jabberjaw, but can you imagine naming your human child Jabber?
Claw.
Like, Claw is his last name.
I think it's all one word.
Oh, no. Imagine naming
I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is Mr. Claw.
Imagine naming your human child Jabber.
And he does not look like, he looks like neither a Jabber or a Jabberclaw, this old white balding plump man. Yeah.
You know what? I also like to think that like the lawyer, when he realized that mistake, at first he was like, what's the big deal? Like, whatever. It's going Jabberjaw. Like, this old man doesn't even know. And then he was like, wait, it's an old human man? I could be a gold digger. I'm going to marry this man. And then the mine will go to me. He's got 3 years left on his life.
Yeah.
He puffs up his pink ascot. He pulls a Le Fin on him.
Extra little spray. Yeah. So I hear you're having trouble getting this deed. Is this true?
I think I help you in any way?
I would love to help you.
I'll do it pro bono, just for you. Wow. Wow. He also has the feather in his hair that Le Fin gave him. She let him borrow it.
Le Fin. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because the lawyer is obviously also Le Fin's lawyer. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Wow, that was
thank you.
Incredible. I'm glad that was a perfect episode for us to end on in full chaos mode.
I agree. As you know, as per usual, it wouldn't be Jabberjaw without pure chaos.
Twists and turns.
This was a last minute decision to do this episode too. At the last minute, I like nixed the one I was gonna do because I accidentally watched this one, and then I was like, "Wait, this is fucking hilarious and ridiculous. I'm gonna do it."
Yes, you made a great call.
It was too good. Thank you. And I thought that it was a good way to wrap up our arc. Hilariously, I didn't say it at the beginning because I wanted it to feel, again, I'm method podcasting here. I wanted us to feel like we really were at the end of the Jabberjaw episodes, and like this really was the end of the Jabberjaw story with them almost
they're all bankrupt now.
Rich. Exactly, they're bankrupt.
The documentary
Jabberjaw may or may not get married to this cabaret singer. Who knows?
Yeah,
which
everyone
honestly
else
would be a good way to like the screen at the end where it says like where they are now, like Jabberjaw and
Jabberjaw
Francine Le Pen
stayed.
ended up getting married. They had 12 kids in one like litter or whatever they call it.
Exactly. And they stayed in whatever Alaska. It was called Aqualaska. Yes, they definitely stayed there for sure.
He manages the mines owned by Jabberclaw.
Exactly.
But no, this actually was episode 8. So it was like halfway through the season.
In my heart, it's not though.
No, in our hearts and minds, exactly. This is how we end our Jabberjaw canon, unless we ever come back to the show again.
Never say never.
I would just say, as one last little bit of wild speculation that I have to wrap up with a bow on this show, we've been building up to it, but my theory here is that the Neptunes somehow are actually like a group of spies / mercenaries / criminals who have been put together into a group a la the Suicide Squad. I think I mentioned it in a previous episode, but they're in a way less put together way somehow compared to the Suicide Squad. They each have their own backstory about what like qualifies them more or less for that sort of thing, and like what their role is. Biff is their driver and their car guy. Clamhead is a former mafioso who also can do surgery. Jabberjaw is a secret agent who had his memory wiped and turned into a shark. Shelly's an alien who can win you over with the power of suggestion and low-key mind control. And Bubbles is just an idiot who was kidnapped, but her parents are famous and like rich art traders or something that have access to the criminal underworld, and she's rich. Together, these Neptunes, they moonlight as a band, getting gigs all over the world. That really is just a means for them to get to the places where they need to run these missions, because it's totally hands-off. Like, there can be no trace of who oversees you guys. Exactly. No receipts. So figure out how to get there. You'll get paid when you return. And that's why they have to do everything so cheaply, because they never have money. And they always have to get paid after their mission. And they blow through their money quickly because Bubbles is on their team and doesn't know how to spend shit because she's from a rich family and an idiot. So that's my overall theory.
And I think that at the very end, yes, them all going their separate ways. I still think that, again, they were a successful band, that they were a successful cover for a while, and now, they've kind of fallen apart. This documentary that someone's been making never gets released because they did indeed find out that they were all criminals. So and the single filmmaker, never. When at this last scene, they were like, all right, well, I guess we have an open pit here, this open mine. Sorry, buddy. You've learned too much about our background. Down in the pit, he and his camera went, and the documentary never comes out.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So how do you feel now that Jabberjaw's over? For now. What's your take on the show?
Moment, it is still yay. No, I do really like this show. Just because, like us, it's pure chaos and ridiculousness. It's perfect for this podcast. There are no rules to it. There is kind of a formula, I guess, but that often gets thrown out the window. So the formula is to throw the plan out the window with these with these scripts. That's the writer's
formula. The plan is cocaine.
I will miss it. Lots of it. Everywhere. Everywhere. But I will miss it. I'll miss this show, but I'm glad that we're moving on. So how about you? How are you feeling about everything we've gone through for the past however many weeks it's been?
I'm really glad to have experienced it. I would be down one day to come back, but I need a recovery time. I need a long recovery. I'm glad Jabberjaw exists in my life now. But I'm more glad to not have to talk and write about him.
That's
for a while.
That's the perfect way of summing it up. That I think that I agree. I wholeheartely agree. Like, it's good that we've watched this show because it does have a little place in the cartoon history. I am, exactly. I feel like I see the world differently now. Everything's more colorful.
Everything,
all around.
Everyone is always like, wow, our reality is always fucking on fire these last few years in total chaos. And I'm like,
yes,
I've seen real chaos. I've seen Jabberjaw.
You don't know shit. You don't know what's really out there.
It's nothing in comparison to 16 episodes in 1976.
So if nothing else, Jabberjaw has taught us to be a lot more mentally tough, and it's built up our mental fortitude.
It's really built up our ability to describe things. Skin. Yeah. We got thicker skin.
A lot more about dramatic structure.
Yeah, exactly. We got thicker skin like a shark does, perhaps, because of this show.
Yes.
Yeah. So
he is the inspiration. But, you know, I too would be totally down to come back to Jabberjaw. There's 8 more episodes that we could cover. We'd be happy to do it and or talk about them for our bonus, or not our bonus episodes, sorry, our holiday arcs and stuff like that, our specials. Yeah. Like you said, a break is going to be nice. It would be good to kind of like deprogram our brains a little bit. Deprogram / detox. I think detox is the word I wanted to use, but deprogram is great. I feel like Jabberjaw.
Right, because he's trying to get deprogrammed.
Exactly. But unfortunately, I don't think that our next show is actually going to give us that mental break that we need, because the next arc that we have, Grace and I, we're ahead of schedule and we already know what show we're doing next. And Grace is recording her first one after this, and I can't wait. From what I've read about it and from what I know about this show, it's actually as much of a mindfuck as Jabberjaw is. So
you're gonna find out.
I can't wait for you guys to hear that arc, and I can't wait to get started on our next show, which we will obviously tell you what that is next week. So, until then, Grace, who should they tell about this podcast?
I think you guys should tell Exhibit.
Yes.
But with the parentheses of the hosts of this podcast are not liable for anything that is said or done on it. Like, make sure you include that asterisk and that fine print.
Yes.
When you let Exhibit know about this podcast. You know, I bet he gets royalties from people watching Pimp My Ride still.
Probably, yeah.
People are going to watch it after this episode. Yeah. You're welcome.
I might, actually. It's on Paramount Plus.
Yeah, we've done this for you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Who else should they tell?
You should tell a marmoset trainer. I was going to say a marmoset, but that wouldn't go too well. So find someone at your local zoo who maybe works with the marmosets. And honorable mention, if you can't find marmosets, any monkey or primate will do. We'll take that, but shoot for the marmosets, because you'll at least land in the stars or whatever they say.
You'll shoot for the Neptunes, you'll land among the sharks, baby. Wow. And with that, we'll see.
Wait, can I just say, ending this show arc about a shark with a recommendation to tell someone who works with monkeys is exactly what this podcast is all about. So
it's perfect. Perfection.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus tune tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.